Alex Benedetto, also known as Ali, is beaten down by her boss Barry, while Nicholas Brown, also known as Nick, watches from the background. His friend Warwick walks in and tells him about their latest job, so the handymen get work and beat up a bunch of goons for Granny Joel. Nick notices Ali bleeding after her session with Barry, so he offers her a handkerchief. Later we meet Daniel Monroe, a mafia head who belongs to one of the three main gangs in Ergastulum. The handymen enjoy a meal, and then they go to officers Chad and Cody for the next job. They are told to take care of Barry, as he has been causing too much trouble for the authorities. They readily agree to do so, and then Chad tells Cody that the handymen are trusted assassins who always do their dirty work. Now Barry and his men carry out one of their hauls, while Ellie meets Warwick and thanks him for the handkerchief. However, he says that she should be talking to Nick and reassures her that Barry won't bother her again. Then, we see a deaf soldier killing all of Barry's men with ease, as he is an overpowered Twilight warrior. Warwick joins in on the fun, so Barry offers to bribe the boys, but they taunt him for mistreating Allie and kill him after that. Allie arrives to the scene and is in shock as she thinks that the handymen are too savage with their ways. Nick wants to help her out, so the boys take her into their protection. A nurse named Nina bumps into Allie and is shocked to see such a pretty woman with Warwick. Nick arrives and clears the confusion, after which the girls make their acquaintance. Nina informs the boys about a new mission as her boss, Dr. Theo, is under attack. Nick sets off with her, while Warwick decides to go after the goons set after Nina. Allie helps them with this, but still isn't used to all the bloodshed. Now Nick and Nina make it to Theo, who is being threatened by a Twilight boss man. We learn that these Twilights are also known as tags, similar to Nick. And then the deaf soldier confronts the boss man. He taunts his opponent by saying he'll be done in 3 minutes, and then he toys with him. In the middle of this, Theo tells Nina to call Chad, as this seems to be a regular thing. However, Nick gets carried away and it leads to Theo's clinic getting damaged. The doctor goes crazy, but then Nick decides to get serious and savagely tortures his opponent. Warwick talks to Allie about his past, and then she is shocked to see the bloody remains of Nick's attack. Chad arrives to the scene and berates the boys for creating such a mess without his supervision. Later, Allie has a chat with Nina, who reassures her that Nick isn't as scary as he shows himself to be. She also mentions the Twilights, but then it's time to go, so Allie is abruptly taken back home. Later, the boss man is tortured and killed by Oranos Corsica, who is also part of the Big Three. Warwick wakes up from one of his nightmares and laments his childhood memories. Then we see Allie getting ready for work, and she notices a tribal tattoo on Nick's back. The boys are supposed to make some deliveries to Dr. Theo, so Allie is sent along with Nick, while Warwick gets ready for his main job. She is confused at first, but learns that Warwick is also a man of pleasure. Now Nick asks Allie to wait downstairs while he handles business, and then she chats with Granny Joel, who advises her to get away from the city as soon as possible. Then we learn about the Arcangelo family murders that remain unsolved even 22 years later. That's when it is revealed that the missing child Wallace is actually Warwick. After they are done with their job, Allie and Nick reunite with Warwick and go to meet Monroe for business. An assassin named Marco tells them that the Cristiano family has invited them to a party, and then they deliver the drugs. Monroe asks Nick to come to work for him, but he refuses as he is very happy with his current job. The team goes to meet Big Mama later, and Allie is surprised to see that Warwick used to work for her as well. He gives Big Mama the Twilight drug named Celebrer, which is what gives people like Nick their powers. Warwick gets busy with some women, and even Nick meets a lady friend, thus making Allie the odd one out. The next day she finds the same tattoo on Warwick and leaves the house. Warwick goes to her and talks to her about his job to ease the tension. Dismembered body starts to show up all over town, so Chad calls up the handyman again. Nick is briefed about the job, but acts ignorant, while Warwick talks to Chad about the nature of these crimes. He has to be cuffed, so that Chad can show his superiors that he has some suspects, but our hero doesn't appreciate it. Meanwhile, Allie considers leaving the city, but is haunted by visions of Barry. Now Warwick shows off his skills of super reading and gives Cody some clues regarding the cut-up bodies all over the city. A flashback shows Warwick as a child showing off his memory skills to his teacher, but his father doesn't seem to like him. Now Chad is suddenly called by Monroe, who needs the boys to help him as he is in the middle of a tense shootout. Then we see another flashback where Wallace is studying the effects of Cerebrer, and then he tries to talk to his new bodyguard who turns out to be Nick. Back to the present, A Twilight child named Doug attacks Monroe and his men, after which he taunts the crime lord. Monroe's personal guard Dolico puts up a fight, but is no match for the overpowered Tag. Our heroes suspect Doug to be the culprit behind all the recent murders, so Nick gets triggered and confronts the assassin, after which they prepare for an intense battle. News of this attack reaches the Polkley family, so Ginger alerts her boss Gina about Doug going against her orders. The ninja boy faces off against Nick, while the others place their bets on the winner. Then, Warwick arrives to say that the Corsicans are the ones behind the murders and not Doug. The goons don't believe him, and then Nick starts to struggle against his opponent. However, he begins to overdose on the Cerebro, so he goes all out against Doug. The ninja boy gets injured as the battle continues, and then Monroe leaves the scene as he doesn't see the point of sticking around. Nick finally gains the advantage and is about to kill Doug, but then Ginger comes to his rescue. Gina also arrives to the scene and uses downer bullets to restrict Nick so that she can teach him a lesson. Gina taunts the deaf soldier by saying he will meet the same fate as his ex Veronica, but he simply smiles at her, so she shoots him with multiple downers. Nick is unable to walk, so Warwick has to carry him back. But then he also notices Doug on the floor, so he takes him as well. Allie keeps getting visions of Barry and panics when she hears footsteps. Then Warwick takes the injured Twilights to Nina and calls up the office, but gets no answer as Allie has gone missing. Monroe berates Dolico for not tending to his injuries and orders him to get himself treated by Dr. Theo. Then he discusses what to do about Corsica, as the balance of power has been threatened in Ergastulum. Meanwhile, an insider named Ivan meets with a mysterious hunter to discuss their next step towards destroying the Cristiano family. Nina takes care of Nick, but states that he will take some time to recover, as he was shot by downers that were triple the regular dosage. Warwick thinks back to the time Nick saved him from an attacker, but then his abusive father beat him up for no good reason. Nick wakes up after a nightmare, but Warwick tells him that they need to move fast on Corsica as multiple tags have already died, and Monroe needs to be protected at all costs. A flashback shows Warwick learning sign language so that he can bond with Nick, but then the samurai child takes part in the Battle of Westgate, where he gets severely injured. Now Warwick comes back to the office and finds Dr. Theo, who tells him that Allie attacked him and fled as she is suffering from the after effects of the pills Barry used to give her. Warwick finds Allie in the streets and manages to bring her back to her senses, after which he reassures her that he has killed Barry. Another flashback shows Nick suffering from his injuries after the Battle of the West Gate, and the doctor suggests putting him out of his misery as he is a Twilight. However, Wallace rebukes him as he believes that Nick isn't like the other Twilights. Now Warwick wakes up from his nightmare and lands into Allie's arms. She offers him some comfort, and then we see Nick playing with Nina. He also becomes friends with Doug, but the ninja boy is shocked to learn that Nick is a Westgate survivor, and then he leaves with Chad. A flashback shows Nick getting abandoned by his father in a painful moment, as he is considered to be a monster. Then we see Corsica trying to defend his reputation in front of the other families, as they have a heated discussion over the recent Twilight murders. Later, Dr. Theo helps Allie with her condition, and she decides to stay with the boys a little longer. Warwick has another nightmare, where he remembers how his father made him lose his eye, and then we learn that Nick was the one who killed Warwick's family to protect him. Now Dolico meets Warwick and warns him against the upcoming war, as the drama has only just begun. That's when we see the true culprits behind these attacks. They are revealed to be the Esminet hunters, Erica and Mikhail. Chad inspects the crime scene and is told that this act was not committed by Twilights, so he gets confused. Meanwhile, the boys help Granny Joel by painting her building, and Warwick tells Allie that he's got her a dress that she can wear to the Cristiano party. That's when she meets Joel's granddaughter Constance, also known as Connie. The granny scolds her heroes and berates Allie for sticking to them, but suddenly she remembers her brother Emilio and starts to panic. Luckily, Nick helps her out, and then Warwick talks to Allie about her lost family. The night of the party arrives and the team meets Loretta, who is the boss of the Cristiano family, even though she's just a little girl. Loretta's bodyguard Galahad stares at Allie, so Warwick tries to be funny, but gets slapped instead. Later, Allie sings a song, while the boys guard the area by protecting the Twilights under attack from rebel groups. Galahad loves Allie's voice, so he makes her the new singing diva of the club, and her voice captivates everyone. Meanwhile, Nick and Warwick continue killing assassins in a parallel sequence. Ali's voice catches the attention of a mystery man outside the club, but he isn't allowed inside when he tries to enter. Our heroes manages to get the job done after a brief encounter, and Ali thinks back to some memories with her brother as she completes the song. The crowd applauds Ali for her performance, but then we see a crazy man amongst the audience. Now Loretta bonds with Ali and tells her about her own mom, who suffered from the same situation as she did. After meeting Ivan, the crazy man kills one of the Twilights and chaos ensues after that. Suddenly, the demon boy Mikhail arrives and starts killing everyone inside, so the crowd panics and escapes. Warwick is alerted by this, so he sends Nick to the scene. Marco also arrives to help Galahad against Mikhail, while Erica continues with her killing spree. Ali is given a gun to protect herself, and then Galahad and Marco subdue the demon boy. However, Erica joins in and helps Mikhail defeat the Twilight Warriors. Loretta and Ali try to help, but Erica dominates them and is about to kill Ali. That's when Nick arrives, and he is shocked to see that Erica is the spitting image of Delico. They get into an intense battle, while the others try to escape. Nick takes on both his opponents at the same time, but isn't able to keep up as he is a faker who depends on drugs for his powers. He is about to be killed, but then Ginger and Doug come to the rescue. The villains make their escape, and then Warwick has a chat with Chad about Erica as he identifies her to be Delico's twin sister. Later, we see Emilio joining Corsica's army of Esminet hunters. News spreads everywhere about the attack, and then Theo berates Nick for going overboard with his abilities. Connie comes running inside the clinic and cries after meeting an injured Marco as she loves him. Meanwhile, the council talks to Warwick about Erica as they were certain that she was dead. This affects Delico, who thinks back to when he was first separated from his sister, when their mentor Yang failed to save them. Now Connie gives Ali a key and asks her to leave the city as things are only going to get worse. Later, Warwick heads out for a job and bumps into a shady man on his way, who is later revealed to be the Esminet leader Stryker. As Galahad calls Doug over to his side of town, a sinister plan gets underway wherein multiple Twilights are killed across the city. Doug and his men are also attacked by an overpowered hunter, and she cuts through them with ease. But Doug manages to escape. Meanwhile, Ivan approaches Monroe with a gun, hinting that he is a double agent. Delico wants to look for Erica, and Yang wants to come along with him as he holds himself responsible for losing her in the first place. They joke with each other for a bit, after which they set out on their mission together. Ali has another episode of Emilio and cries endlessly till she faints. As Doug tries to make it to Galahad, he is attacked and severely wounded by one of the hunters. Meanwhile, Stryker and his hunters continue to wreak havoc in town. Loretta has to leave for work, so she tucks Ali into bed before she resumes her duties. Gina is eventually alerted about the chaos when it reaches her base, so she prepares herself and Ginger for battle. Galahad also learns about what's going on, so he tells everyone to retreat into their houses till the coast is clear. Eventually, the Esminet hunters reveal that they are agents of Corsica when they are confronted by Gina. Meanwhile, Delico and Yang meet a girl named Heather who wants revenge from Erica as she had killed her sister. Doug finally makes it to Galahad but dies in his arms. Then Connie is kidnapped by one of the hunters as she can smell Marco on her. Ali has yet another nightmare regarding her past and wakes up next to Nick. She asks him if they've met before, but then he is summoned to investigate Connie's disappearance. Ali tries to stop him, but he tells her to stay and takes off with a soldier. Granny Joel berates and hits Marco, as she has already lost her son and his wife to such wars before. Nick calms her down, and then Warwick discusses the situation with Miles. He learns that Marco used to be a hunter, which is why the Esminet warriors are so interested in Connie. Suddenly, Warwick identifies Ivan to be the traitor, and he rushes towards Monroe with Miles, but the mafia boss is missing, and then Stryker arrives to the scene. Marco tells Loretta that hunters are even stronger within Twilights, so she decides to spring into action, and he follows after her. Warwick asks Miles to escape while he can, but he refuses to back down as Stryker breaks into the mansion. The humans fight their overpowered opponent, but are no match for him, even after using all their tricks. Warwick is seemingly killed when he is thrown from the window, and then we see that Monroe and Ivan are actually working together. And that's the end of the show. Like, share, and subscribe if you want more recaps, and hit the bell icon for regular notifications. See you soon!